WLHR, Las Vegas Hot Radio, the heart and soul of Las Vegas music.
Stay tuned for What's Up Las Vegas with your host, Lynelle Baker.
Right here on LasVegasHotRadio.com.
What's up, Las Vegas Hot Radio? It's your girl, Lynelle, and I'm here with Miss Kaiya Matthews from the ADC band. Hello, Kaiya.
Hi, Lynelle. How are you, sweetheart?
I'm doing fantastic. How about you?
I'm wonderful. Hot out here in Las Vegas, but other than that, I'm healthy, I'm well, I'm in my right mind, so I'm blessed.
Absolutely. Amen to that. It's truly a pleasure to have you here for an interview today. You have quite an amazing history. I would like for you to go into some of the background about the band and about your mother, because your mother, Johnnie May Matthews, was a pretty dynamic woman, and she's done a lot in the music industry, especially for a woman of her time. So if you want to fill the listeners in a little bit on the history of your mother and the start of the band.
I sure will. Well, my mother was Johnnie May Matthews, first woman to own and operate a recording company in the United States. She opened up her record company in 1958. Motown opened up their record company in 1960, I think it was. She started off as a singer. She had a group called Johnnie May Matthews and the Five Daps. So she was actually an artist. And she started traveling with James Brown. She had a #1 record called My Little Angel that hit the Billboard charts, and she was on the James Brown tour review.
Okay.
During this time, she was going to, I think it was New York, to do the Apollo. And as she was going through Delaware, she was in a bad accident. And it threw her out of the car, and they found her 15 feet from the Delaware River.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So that's when she decided, we were young at that time, and that's when she decided that she was going to come off the road and start managing. And that's when she started managing. She had the Temptations, who at the time were the Daps. The Distance. They were the Distance. And I'm sure you've seen the movie, the Temptation movie.
Oh, of course I've seen the movie. I know a little bit more about the story than what's in the movie, definitely.
Yeah, well, the movie, it was embellished. They have to embellish and try to stretch it out and make it a storyline. But that wasn't the last time that the car scene where she told them get out her car and she didn't want anything else to do with them. Don't get your money mixed up with my money. You ain't made no money yet. That little scene there. Get out my car. So they did do another record because they were under contract. But she actually sold the contract to Berry Gordy. They bought the contract. After the accident, she decided to, take a break, and she sold the contract to Berry.
Okay. All right. So, and I'm sure the movie depicts her as a hardcore woman. In the movie, I guess it made it look like she was taking their money, but she has to make a profit as well, and they had a contract. So I'm sure the movie made things look worse than what it was. Had she not discovered them as the Distance and kind of got them out there, they may have not gotten to Berry Gordy. So you have to give credit where credit is due. But I do understand that they had to embellish, make the story look good and to also create something for TV that people want to watch. When she started managing, she managed the Temptations and several other groups.
Bettye LaVette. She also had a guy named Timmy Shaw. She did work with Impressions, just numerous of artists. She worked with Melvin Davis, Don Davis. She started Don Davis off. Don Davis was 17 years old when he came to my mom. He played guitar, and he lived across the street from us. And Don Davis was the one who owned wrote You Don't Have to Be a Star.
Yes.
With Marilyn McCoo, and he also had The Dramatics, and he also had First Independent Bank, United Sound. Yeah, he was a big wig. So Don Davis and the ADC band.
His 70th composition in Detroit, they had a big celebration for him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Don Davis was a great friend of the family. Yes, he was.
Wonderful.
So Mom had most of the artists before Motown. You got to figure this. When you're the only game in town, everybody's flocking to your door. She had her own recording studio. She had her own business. Smokey Robinson, all those, the Primes, they all knocked that door. I mean, any and everybody. So she had her hand on a little bit of everything, and she was a promotion woman because she could get the records played in Detroit. She knew all the DJs. She knew all the owners of the radio stations. Dr. Cox, who had WCHB, Butterball Jr., Al Perkins, Martha Jean the Queen. Martha Jean the Queen and my mom were best friends. Matter of fact, she was instrumental in getting Martha Jean her job at WCHB, WJLB. Joe Howard.
CHB. Yeah, was she at JLB too? I know she was on CHB.
She was at CHB, and then she went to WJLB, I think it was, because it was downtown.
I didn't know she's a Detroit legend. I was a little girl when she was on. I do remember the name, though. You were in Detroit, a Detroit legend. For sure.
Yes.
As your mom is as well.
Yeah, behind the scenes, not really what you call unsung, the unsung person. She was just very instrumental in a lot of things.
So with that being said, having all of that greatness around you and, being raised by such a powerful woman, you had no choice but yourself. I want to take a quick commercial break, and when we come back, I want to hear more about your story, how all of this affected you growing up with all of this around you, and how you got your start and how you ended up with the ADC band. So let's take a quick commercial break, and we'll be right back right after this.
Sync us in your car and download our app on your phone. Las Vegas Hot Radio, the heart and soul of Las Vegas music.
Hey, I've been meaning to ask you, where'd you get that lipstick?
It's Tantas Cosmetics by Nadanya.
Girl, they have over 42 vibrant hues of the sheerest of pure to the boldness of cobalt blue.
Wow.
With exciting shades of nude, pink, red, and orange, and anything in between.
Well, I just love it. Can I find it online?
Yes, at TantasCosmetics.com.
It's a deal. I'm going on TantasCosmetics.com.
And you can find it at Macy's, 12 Oaks, Novi, Michigan, and Lenox Mall in Atlanta, Georgia. It's Tantas Cosmetics by Nadanya.
WLHR, Las Vegas Hot Radio, the heart and soul of Las Vegas music.
Now, on with the show, right here on LasVegasHotRadio.com.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to What's Up Las Vegas with your host, Lynelle Baker, and we are here talking with Miss Kaiya Matthews, daughter of Johnnie May Matthews. She has quite an amazing story. Before we went to break, we heard all about her mother and how her mother started out and a little bit about her story, some of the people that she managed, her record company, as she was a pioneer in the industry. So Kaiya is going to tell us a little bit about what it was like growing up in a household with a mother so powerful and having people in the industry around and how it affected her life and her career.
Growing up as the daughter of Johnnie May Matthews was truly amazing. Anybody and everybody would walk through those doors. And at that time, I was very young. I didn't realize the magnitude of my mother's celebrity and success. it was nothing to see Al Green come over. It was nothing to see Gladys Knight come through the door. I got older, I realized how powerful she was and how loved she was. It was just a joy growing up in a household that was filled with music and love and cooking. My mom, whenever you came to the house, you always had something to eat. You know, that Southern hospitality.
Yes.
Food on the table, and people look forward to that. I remember one time, a young man came over. He was from New York. He was a promotion man. And she wanted to play a joke on him because she was a prankster, right? Uh-huh. And she says, we're going to take all the pots off the stove because I know he thinks something's going to be ready for dinner. And she took the pots off the stove and put them on the buffet in the dining room. And when he came in, when he walked through the kitchen, he looked at the stove and he says, Johnny, no food today? She says, no, I'm not cooking today. Oh my God, I came all the way from New York. I was looking forward to some of that soul food. And she bust out laughing. She said, baby, you know I wouldn't let you come all this way and didn't have dinner for you. She said, the buffet is set up. And he laughed, and it was just a joy growing up in a household where there was love and laughter and good fellowship. You know, back then people knew how to fellowship. People had love in their heart and compassion in their heart, not like today. I mean, it still was a dog-eat-dog, but it wasn't as vicious as it is today. But, yeah, I mean, and of course it had a great influence on me. My mother heard me singing one day. I was in the back seat of the car, and I think I was singing Selfish One. And she turned around. She said, hit that note again. And I did, and she said, oh, my God. And from therefore on, she always would put me on the spot when people come over. Put that record on, Selfish One. Come on, Kaiya, get in the middle of the floor. I want you to sing Selfish One. And I was very shy. I'll be like, Mom, I want to. And she's like, open your mouth. You know how it was when someone spoke to you, your parents tell you, when someone speaks to you, open your mouth and be heard. Don't shrink back.
Yes, don't put your hand up there. Don't put your head down.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That type of thing. So I would get up and I would sing and I would sing and I would sing. And, you know, I always felt like the court gesture. I says, Ma, am I the court gesture? Every time someone comes over, you want me to entertain? Yeah. So, it was warm. And my brother, he played drums for my mom. My brother started playing on the pots. You know, he would get the pot out the cabinet and beat the pot. And she took him into the studio. She brought him some congas and took him into the studio. And he played congas on one of her songs because she was still recording. And I think it was Timmy Shaw song. And after that, she brought him a set of drums. Wonderful. And he started, he started playing behind her. So, she was a great influence on us. And I loved Gladys Knight. I loved Gwen and Fox. I think it was Gwen and Fox. It was a duo, a husband and wife duo. And Smokey Robinson, of course. Loved Mary Wilson. All those guys. All
of those names are wonderful, wonderful. I don't remember ever meeting Gladys Knight as a child. I just remember my dad talking about the time he drove her to Georgia. I've never met Gladys Knight, but I really love her music.
Oh, so maybe he was the inspiration behind Midnight Train to Georgia, huh?
I don't know. No, don't get me to telling any stories.
Don't get you to think
I know, and a lot of things I don't know. That was a pretty amazing era in Detroit, and some amazing things happened. And everybody around that time, they all kind of knew each other. They were like family. They all hung out in the same places. Some of the famous people I know lived in the projects. I know my aunt used to do Diana Ross's hair, and they were all like family. It's just amazing how they're all like world renowned now, all coming from Detroit. Detroit, starting from little or nothing, recording in people's basement and stuff like that. I did an interview with someone else, and he was saying how when he went to Motown, he was expecting it to be this big place. It was just this little house. It was Barry's house.
Yeah, they had a 4-track. They would record on a 4-track. And speaking of that, my mother, in the movie, they said that she was in the studio and she was hitting on the ceiling because they flushed the toilet and it would mess up the recording. Well, actually, it was symbolic to what she used to do because it was a 4-track. She used to put them in the bathroom to create an echo. And she would overdub and overdub and overdub because at that time you didn't have all the technology to put reverb and all that type of stuff on there. So she says, go in the bathroom. And she would put them in the bathroom to create an echo. And Barry asked her specifically, how do you get that fat sound on a 4-track? And she actually told him what she did because she was free with her information. She just loved the music, and she loved teaching, and she loved sharing. And that's how that came about.
That's amazing, though, in the restroom. I mean, nobody would think, but that is amazing. But they accomplished their goal. They got the sound they were looking for.
Yes. And the distance, they were, oh, my God, they were working. Their songs were played on all the radios. So they were a big deal. And Mom used to put the speakers on the top of the car. And, the posters on the side of the car, like you had the posters with the name of the group and where they were going to be and that type of thing. And they would nail the posters up all on the street light post and stuff like that. And she would ride around with this speaker announcing where the groups were going to be and what time with this big speaker on top of the Wow. She was something else, I'm telling you. But she could pack a house out. By the time she got through, the Greystone, the 20 Grand, all those places like that, felt be jam-packed.
Wow.
They loved her. They loved
and all of that with no technology. Imagine what she could have done today.
I always say that. I said, oh, my God, my mother would be a multi-millionaire because she lived, breathed, ate music. She would have been a multi-millionaire because she would have been up all times of night just doing things on the internet.
Yeah.
So she was very creative.
And so you followed in her footsteps.
Yeah, I did. I started singing. My brother started a group, and it was called the Black Nasties, okay? Before we became the ADC band, we were called a group called the Black Nasties. My mother said, why you got to be black and nasty?
Exactly.
It's bad enough you're black. You want to be nasty, too. My brother was
rebelling. With that name, Kaiya?
My brother. He was the band leader. Artwell Matthews, my brother. We called him Chucky. He said, mine's my group. And back then, it was an era where it was like black power. Everything was about blackness, Afrocentric. You understand what I'm saying? You had Black Murder. You had all these other groups' names in Detroit, especially, that started off with black in it. So my mom said,
that when they were doing like the Pam Grier movies, the blaxploitation and
that type of thing.
Okay.
So we actually got our first major record deal with a company called Stax Records, Al Bell, out of Memphis, Tennessee. And my mother was writing partners with a guy by the name of Sir Mac Rice, who penned the songs Cheaper to Keeper, Respect Yourself, Mustang Sally. He became an in-house writer for Stax. And he told my mom, if I get this deal, if I get this position, I'll be back. Because he moved to Memphis. He says, I'll be back, and I'm going to get Chucky and them a deal. And he did. He kept his word. So we had our first major contract with Stax Records, and the name of the song, or the name of the LP, was entitled Talking to the People. And we were on Enterprise label, which was Isaac Hayes' label. And actually, Hot Butter and Soul did the background on our first LP. So that was pretty major for people who were in high school.
I would say.
Yeah. Yeah. My brother was in high school and I was in junior high. I think I had to be like 14, 13 years old.
So did you need bodyguards to go to school after that?
No. You know, they all knew my mom and they all knew my history. And then I was around a lot of people because we lived out by Santa Barbara. So, you know, Smokey Robinson lived around the corner, Gladys Knight. So we lived in an area where their kids were going to school and stuff like that. So it was the norm.
Yeah.
You know, it was the norm. And then back then we did a lot of talent shows. So the talent that was in these schools from Northwestern to Mumford to Hampton to, you know, the talent that was in the school. You had Ray Parker Jr. coming out of Northwestern.
Yeah.
You know, you had Phil Fillingane coming out of Cass Tech.
Right.
So, I mean, you had all these big musicians. It was just a warehouse of musicians.
Were they from, what is they from Northern? I know some were from Mumford.
Mumford, yeah, they came from all over. So, I mean, talent was a dime a dozen in Detroit. I mean, because you had talent was nothing. That was the norm. You understand what I'm saying? So
yes, you had these records and you're on Isaac Hayes' label, and it was no big deal. You're still just a normal person in Detroit. That's amazing.
Yeah. That's amazing because they were all doing things. Ben Atkinson came out of Northwestern, I think it was, and he started playing with the Jacksons at an early age. So people were making their marks because talent shows were the biggest thing going. And, I mean, when you would go to some of these talent shows, the talent that you see should have been on Motown, Atlantic, or whatever. It was just a plethora of talent.
And you all supported each other.
Yeah, we supported each other, and it was like, hey, they got their deal, you know, and they would come over to the house and talk to my mom. We'd go to the door, and we'd be like, hey, what's up? They'd be like, yeah, what's up? We come to see your mom. Our friends, they come to see me. We're like, oh, so you didn't come see us. We come to see you come to see mom, huh? Yeah, so, I mean, and she would sit there, and she would give them all the knowledge that she had because she wanted everybody to know the business and not to get cheated. Although she got cheated a lot, but that's how you learn.
Yes. Yes. The climate now, the entertainers and the kids trying to make it now, they could learn a lot from that era because so many, especially in Detroit, you know, so much competition more than camaraderie, and people aren't happy for other people when they make it. People are getting killed. I mean, there was a rapper killed in Detroit recently. That
seemed to be the climate, you know, when hip-hop came in, it became this beef type thing, you know, West Coast, East Coast, that type of thing. No, it wasn't, you know, the love for fellow musician, and if I could help you, I'll do it. But then these kids are making so much more money than we were back then. They are brands now. So I must give them credit where credit is due. They took it to a whole nother level. Messy and all. But they're becoming millionaires. They're doing makeup, clothes. We didn't have that opportunity that they have now with social media. Becoming an influencer.
You have to realize that other people have the same opportunity that you do, and you have to support other artists and be happy for other people. The jealousy, you want to be the only one to succeed. I don't want to take this on a negative note, but there's so many things in the media lately. A female beat two guys rapping, and they raped her and killed her. You know.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, that's what it's come to these days. Really good to talk to you and hear how wholesome it was. Kids today need to hear that and need to think about how the industry started and the attitudes and maybe try to live some of that today.
Exactly, but unfortunately that's not going to happen because the climate has changed. Look at the TV shows. We were watching, you know, wholesome shows, Love Boat.
Green Acres?
Green Acres. You know, we were watching wholesome shows.
Yeah.
Yeah, now you've got these reality shows have taken it to a whole nother level. Everybody wants to be ratchet. If you're not ratchet, you're not selling. Listen to the music. Back it up. Drop it like it's hot. Balls against the walls. You know, all this type of stuff. Talking about women like filth.
Yeah, there's
like
no
farm
respect.
animals and stuff like that. So the whole climate has changed. It's demonic. It's a very demonic thing. We were singing and talking about love. These people are singing and talking about hatred and sex and drugs. Everybody's talking about mollies, popping pills and smoking weed. It's demonic. It has taken over.
Right.
And I don't really see it going back. I just don't. It's too far gone. I mean, you got your R&B, but R&B is not selling. So they're doing what's selling. If you look at the award shows, everybody's got fires and cloak and daggers, and I'm like, wow.
Well, there's been a long-standing rumor in the music industry. I'm sure you've heard it about the Illuminati, and you have to sell your soul on a record contract. And I remember even when I was in, say, middle school, they were playing people's, some of the rock and roll people, they were playing their songs backwards. And they were saying they worship the devil. You know anything about it?
No, we weren't exposed to nothing like that. It was a whole different era. But you got to realize, I'm going to go biblical now. They talk about the fallen angels, and they talk about that Satan was the worship leader in heaven. He's supposed to be the most beautiful angel, and he walked around, and music just spewed out of his feet, and lights came on, and he was kicked down because of jealousy, because he wanted to be God, okay? And he was kicked out of heaven, and he took his angels with him. So these imps are doing their job.
Yeah.
We have been infiltrated. These imps have gotten to these young people, and they have taken over. And yes, I believe that it's some type of society. I don't know what kind of society it is, because I'm not at liberty to say that. I don't know.
Yeah.
But it's something. It's the machine behind these people is really, really big, and it's really, really dark. So on that note, I can say, hey.
Yeah.
It's the influencers. They're down here. They're out here. So, but no, music, back when we were coming up, it was different. So we were the Black Nasties, and then we became the Nasties. We recorded on Nashville Records. And then we finally got our big deal with Atlantic Records, and we were the ADC band. Now, everybody, back then they said aid-dependent children. It was actually a direct current from us to you. And we recorded recorded our first LP with Long Stroke. We did a single, and Mom took the single. Well, let me back up a little bit. We were on the road. We were traveling a lot, and we were doing a lot of, a matter of fact, Otis Redding's wife, Helen Reddy, was our booking agent. So we were traveling all through the South doing clubs. We used to do this song like an intro, and it was like the boom, doom, 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 like that. And every time we would do this song, we would just freestyle on it. Every time we do this song, the dance floor would get jam-packed. And my mother would sit back. She said, they jump up on the dance floor like they heard that song before. She said, we need to record it. So we're down south. She called Helen. She says, is there a studio down here that I can get into? She says, yeah. She recommended a studio. We went way out in the cornfields. And everybody was laughing and stuff. We're like, oh, my God, children of the corn. We're afraid. We're just joking and laughing because we had a mobile home. So we're in the mobile home, and we go way way out into the cornfields. And we seen this red barn sitting far out, and we said, okay, this is where we're going to record. She said, this is where we're going to record. We went in and we did Long Stroke. Once we got off tour, my mother took the song, had it mastered, and she, at this time, they had a company called Fee Records, which had Chapter 8 and the Floaters, and Butterball Jr. and Woody Wilson was the owners, the owners of this company. So Mom took the record out to Butterball to let him hear it. And when he heard it, he had a fit. He said, oh, my God, this is a hit, Johnny. You got you one. And she said, ain't it good? She said, and she told him the story about how everybody jumped up and loved the song. So he says, I'm going to get you a deal. He took it to Atlantic Records, and that's where it all began. That was our first LP, and it went to number 3 on the Billboard chart, number 1 on Cashbox.
What an amazing story. Amazing. I want to take a quick commercial break, and when we come back, I want to hear more about what the career was like. So you got a huge start in the industry, and your career just kind of took off, and I know it was absolutely amazing. And so we'll hear more about it right after this.
WLHR, Las Vegas Hot Radio, the heart and soul of Las Vegas music.
Looking for fun, comfort, style, class, sass, and affordable? Visit Fancy Feet Plus, shoes for all, including accessories. Located inside the Kennedy Building across from Eastland Mall at 18121 East 8 Mile Road in East Point, Michigan, or call 586-241-9591. 586-241-9591. Fancy Feet Plus, where fun and shoes begin. Shoes for all.
If you're talking, they will hear you.
We all want our kids to grow up safe and healthy, so we show them how. And we tell them with honest conversations that let them know what we expect. Not just one time, but every chance we get. That's especially important when it comes to alcohol and other drugs. Kids not only need to know the dangers and how to avoid them, they need to hear it often from you. And when it comes to pain medications, opioids, they need to know that they should never be taken without a prescription and never shared with friends or family. It's dangerous and illegal. So talk with your kids and guide them through the challenges of growing up safe and healthy. Because when you talk, they hear you. For more information about talking with your kids about underage use of alcohol and other drugs, visit underagedrinking.samhsa.gov.
So talk, they hear you. You can do it if you try.
Now, on with the show. Right here on LasVegasHotRadio.com.
So, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to What's Up Las Vegas with your host, Lynelle Baker. And we're here still with Miss Kaiya Matthews, and she has a pretty amazing story about how her career got started with the ADC band. And we've talked about her mother, who was very famous in the industry, Miss Johnnie May Matthews. So, Kaiya, welcome back.
All right.
Tell the listeners, about your wonderful career. You had a jump start, your first album, you hit the charts, and you just kind of went off and running. So tell us what that was like.
Yeah, from Black Nasties to Nasties to ADC band. ADC band, it just blew up overnight. It just that they started playing that record, and all through the South we had been traveling, so it blew up through the South because people remembered it because they were dancing to it. So we started traveling. It just took off so fast. We weren't even prepared for it. We didn't even have an LP done, okay? And this thing was climbing the charts, the bullet. So that means fast. It's going fast. So at this time, we had people who were booking us, and we had to finish up an LP. So we were quite busy at this time. We would tour. We would come off tour. We would go into the studio, and we would record. We traveled for a year straight. Off and on. I mean, we would get like maybe a week off to go into the studio, and then we would be right back on tour. We traveled with Rolls Royce. We traveled with Chaka Khan. We traveled with everybody, Cameo, Barkays, Mother Finest, everybody, because we were hot, and everybody wanted us on that ticket. And when we hit the stage, baby, we would set it on fire. We would set it on fire. Cameo took our lights. They said, hey, we don't want them to have one light. We said, you can put us in the dark, baby. We gonna stomp. You can put us in the dark. They gonna hear us. They started doing all kind of things. They was pulling the guitar player's cord out. We were setting it on fire because we were already hot. We were touring. We had been touring the South, remember? So we were a tight group. So yeah, we would set a stage on fire. So we just traveled, and then we did our second LP, which was Talk That Stuff, and then we went back in and did Renaissance, and then we did Brother Luck, and then we did Roll with the Punches. Now with Renaissance and Renaissance was produced by Mass Production. They wanted us to kind of change our style. The reason why the record took off so fast, because it was a funky groove, and everybody thought we were part of George Clinton Parliament Funkadelic. They say, man, that's Parliament Funkadelic. Nobody really knew who it was, because it had that funk groove, and Money Stone was laying on the track rapping, hey, good evening to you souls, where I'm walking and I'm talking with all my funky jive, coming to you from the outer reaches of the galaxy, flashlighting on down to the Mother Earth, the ADC band and the clan, talking about the master's plan, stroking, baby. So, yeah, when they heard that, and that funk groove, that thing took off and didn't stop. We did 2 funk LPs, and Henry Allen, who was the president of Cotillion, said, hey, we want to try to change their style a little bit. And he brought in Mass Production, which had Firecracker, which we didn't feel as though they were really capable of producing us. We was like, well, why don't you get Nile Rodgers or somebody from Chic, somebody who's more acclaimed to do this. And they brought in Mass Production. We did a good collaboration, Brother Luck and Renaissance LP. And then we did Roll with the Punches. And then we brought in Fatback Band, who had money and backstroking. And they collaborated with us, but they gave us the freedom of, creativity. We were able to write our songs and arrange our songs, and they just came in and put the polish on top of it. So, yeah, that was the ADC band, and we did a lot of good things, and it was just a pleasure to work with 9 gentlemen, and I was the only girl, and they were very protective of me. And my brother, the fierce leader, Kubla Khan, he became Kubla Khan at this time. And, man, we hit the stage, I look back at him, and he'd be on them drums, he'd be like, go at it. And we just, we were a high-energy band with high-punching horns, and, it was just fantastic.
Just listening to you talk about it sounds exhilarating. I can only imagine what that's like, to be on the stage with the lights and all the crowd cheering you on.
Yes, you look out in the crowd, and you just see people just bouncing and their hands up, and you know this energy and your energy is coming together, and it's like a spontaneous combustion, and it's just a beautiful thing. And people were into good music back then, and they would have a good time. You didn't have people fighting and carrying on. They just came out, they worked hard, they wanted to go out and get a good show, listen to good music, have a good time, and that's exactly what they did. And we wanted them to have one.
Yes.
We made sure they had one. That was our job, because my mother, she was a stickler about us rehearsing. We had to rehearsal day and night, day and night, day and night. So when we hit the stage, it was second nature. It was second nature. The front line would go out there and get down, and the band was cooking. So we didn't take no prisoners.
At any point did you say during the day and night, what did I get myself into?
No, I loved it. I thank God every day that I had this opportunity. Out of all the talent that was around me, that we had the opportunity to get a hit record and to sign with a major record company. And thanks to my mom, she was always there for us. She wanted the best for us, and she dropped all her other artists and just concentrated on us. And it was a beautiful thing, because she was working with family. You know, people give you a bad name, try to say, hey, you're taking their money. But when you're the one who's putting the money up from the front, anytime you start a business, you take your money off the top.
Exactly.
You recoup your money first. You don't hand out money without recouping yours. And that's the whole thing to the distance. I'm going back to that because I seem like I'm jumping all over the place, but I'm just talking about business.
No, I understood.
Yeah, when you put the money and the advertisement and press up the records and do their uniforms and all that, you're supposed to get your money off the top.
Exactly. And so in many cases, people don't really make money off their first album because all that money had to go into creating them and the production, and that's what people don't understand. They have a hit record, and you're still living in your same house. You don't just blow up overnight and then, you have a hit record and then you get this big house and this big car. But, TV makes it look that way. And so when it doesn't happen that way for people, they're saying, they're taking all my money. I think what it boils down to is people aren't educated and understand the industry. A lot of, movies and TV and things that have happened with artists that have been in the news now, I think there's a little bit more information available to people now, especially with social media and internet, that type of thing, so people have a greater idea of what the industry is about. I still think some people have unrealistic expectations.
Oh, yes, always going to be the chosen few. Everybody's not awake. We got a lot of people who are still walking around asleep. But at the same time, it was a beautiful time in my life. I was a young woman. I got to travel all over the world, make money, and I was starstruck about meeting a lot of people. When I seen Chaka Khan, we were in the same studio in Atlantic Records. She was recording. We were recording. We had this common area where everybody would meet up. It was like a lounge, and people would just come out the studio just to clear their heads. We sit around and play games and order food. Mick Jagger,
Starstruck about meeting you, too.
Well, at this time, we were just starting to climb the chart, but we knew how to mingle. We got in there with them, and we had a good time. And they said, it's a pleasure meeting you guys, and we hope it's the best for you. So, yeah, we had a lot of fun. And now I'm doing a few little things, not much, but we're going to start recording. The industry has changed so much. You just don't have the radio play like you used to. You got to do everything on social media. It takes a lot to really break out now.
It's totally different. And that's why people are giving Cardi B her props so majorly, because what she did was amazing. So
marketing strategy was great. She got on Love and Hip Hop. She got her name out there, and then she pushed the record right out behind it. So you got to have some type of momentum that where you able to draw people to your social media, or they want to go buy your records, that type of thing. I mean, we do have a fan base, and a lot of people are still saying, hey, when y'all coming out with something, but does that mean they're going to buy it? That type of thing. So some things are better left in the past, and maybe I'll do a solo.
Well, there's still a market for your type of music, though. I mean, George Clinton, Parliament Funkadelic, they're still performing. I think I saw advertisement for them in Dewey Beach or something last year. They're all over the place. A lot of the younger people really love that era of music. Frankie Beverly and Maze, they perform every year. Beyonce just remade his song, but he's performed every year all over the same album.
Right. Yeah, well, we just got to find a promoter who will get us back out there, and that's the whole thing. You got to find a promoter that's into your music, then you can get back out there, because, they're still traveling and they're still doing things.
Well, I think you might have someone in mind.
Yeah, we do. He's talked about it. Yep. So that's it. Right now I'm doing some things with a choir called Facebook Chorale. We call FBC, and we did something with Mariah Carey. All I Want for Christmas tour. We do the Stella Awards every year. Kirk Franklin, Fred Hammond, Shirley Caesar, Tamela Mann. We work with the biggest and the best. So I have been started doing a little gospel.
That's awesome.
Yeah, out here in Las Vegas. So, the beat goes on.
Yeah, it's amazing, though, that you've had so much success and that you're able to stay grounded. For me personally, you're a wonderful person. You're always pleasant, very down to earth. I mean, someone just meeting you in passing, they would have no idea. They weren't familiar with your band, who you are, what you've done, because you don't put on any airs, and nor do you meet any strangers. Yes. That's something that people today need to learn, that love, that camaraderie that you guys had years ago. This generation, they need to have more of that. So it's truly amazing. So let's go to a commercial break, and when we come back, I want you to talk to the listeners and impart some knowledge.
Okay.
We'll be right back right after this.
Sync us in your car and download our app on your phone. Las Vegas Hot Radio, the heart and soul of Las Vegas music.
Some of the best sounds you'll ever hear are generic, safe, effective, even money-saving, just like FDA-approved generic drugs. Even if they don't come in the exact same color or shape as their brand name equivalents, they have the same key ingredients and go through a rigorous review process. Talk to your doctor or pharmacist today and visit fda.gov/generic drugs. Generics are safe, effective, and can save you money. You'll like the sound of that.
Now, on with the show, right here on LasVegasHotRadio.com.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. This is Lynelle Baker with What's Up Las Vegas, and we have had a truly amazing interview today with Miss Kaiya Matthews. Kaiya, I want to thank you so much for joining us. It has been amazing having you on the show. And I just want to know, what message would you leave with the listeners? I would like for you to share that. And also, I know you have some things up and coming. If you have social media that they can follow, if you could leave that for the listeners as well.
Well, first of all, I'd like to say it was an honor to be on Las Vegas Hot Radio. Thank you for having me. It is truly my pleasure.
As well.
Oh, yeah, Lynelle, you're the best. You're the best. I love you, dear. You're such a genuine person and have such a beautiful spirit. When we met, it was like we were kindred friends. It was a kindred spirit in the air. And I just wish you the best in all your future endeavors as well. Thank you. You're welcome. I like to say to people out in the music industry is to stay true to yourself and to stay in control of your creative power, your creative energy. Try to stay positive if you can in a negative world. Be a light in a dark place. Try to change. Don't just follow the trend. Be a trailblazer. Bring good music back. Stop just being on the bandwagon. Be a pioneer. That's my thing. Just bring good, wholesome music back. The world needs you. You have a platform. You're obligated to do something with your talent besides just a bunch of trash. I hate to put it like that, but I'm just being honest. I'm on social media. You can go to the ADC band page on Facebook, and you can also go to my IG, Kaiya Matthews, Kaiya Matthews Johnson on Facebook.
Okay, wonderful. So, guys, please follow Kaiya because she's got some things up and coming. And if you happen to be in Vegas and you go see Mariah Carey or some of these other groups, you may see Kaiya there. There's a lot of different things. We just thank you once again for gracing us here on What's Up Las Vegas and Las Vegas Hot Radio. And we will see you guys back next week, same time, on What's Up Las Vegas with your girl Lynelle on LasVegasHotRadio.com. Thank you so much, Kaiya. Love you.
Love you too. All right.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
WLHR, Las Vegas Hot Radio, the heart and soul of Las Vegas music.